Hi friends and welcome to another video. My name is Julie if you're new here, and today we're going to talk about something really exciting. I'm going to tell you about books that I think match the Speak Now vault track vibes. By Speak Now, I obviously mean Speak Now by Taylor Swift, the album, and she re-released this already last month, and I have listened to this album so many times since then. If you don't know, I am a huge Taylor Swift fan. I love her music. I've been a fan for quite some time now, and I have watched her reclaim all of her stolen albums, and I am so happy that we finally also got Speak Now and even got some great new vault tracks that were included in this re-recording. And these vault tracks are what I'm going to talk about today. For me personally, I think I even like the Speak Now vault tracks the most out of the vault tracks that we got so far. I don't know, I also really like Red. I mean, we had an Ed Sheeran feature with this one. But I was already so excited when she announced this because we have features by Fall Out Boy and Paramore, and when this album came out, that was the kind of music that I was really listening to. I was like a bit in my emo phase back then, and I definitely listened to a lot of Paramore and Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco and stuff like that. So when she announced this, I was just so happy about that. And as I've said, this album has been out for a month now, but I'm posting this video today because all of the Swifties, or a group of Swifties, I don't know, some Swifties have started this kind of idea or movement that today on the 13th of August, we are going to listen to the Speak Now album collectively and kind of trying to, I don't know, make it really big, even though it was already really big when it came out. And another thing just recently happened. Taylor also announced that she is going to release the re-recording of 1989 on October 27th. And I am so stoked for this. I think it's going to be epic. It's probably going to break the internet. So yeah, that was also a cool thing that happened. If you don't know a lot about Taylor Swift and you have for some reason decided to click on this video, Speak Now is an album by Taylor Swift that has been released in 2010, I believe. So it's been a while, 13 years to be exact. And she now re-recorded it and re-released it with 5 additional tracks. These are the vault tracks. And I'm going to tell you a few books for each track that kind of match the vibe for me. So let's get started. The first vault track that we have on this album is Electric Touch featuring Fall Out Boy. If you haven't listened to this track yet, it is really full of teen angst, and it kind of tells the story about when you have been in a really bad relationship and you're getting to know someone new and all of the kind of anxiety that comes with it. And the most important sentiment that I get from the song is that you try to let this new love into your life and you don't know if it will completely destroy you and break you forever, or if it's going to be the most healing thing that's going to happen to you. And this song is packed with a bunch of emotions. It's really over dramatic and it's just so fun because the lyrics of the chorus are, all I know, this could either break my heart or bring it back to life. Got a feeling this electric touch could bring this ghost town back to life. And yeah, as I've said, it's really about feeling really empty and alone, and then this new person coming into your life and you don't know what's going to happen. And then we also got this really cool bridge that has some connections to songs that we got from her before or after that. So, but I'm not going to go into more detail about that because I could talk about these songs for hours. And now I want to tell you about the books. So this song really reminded me of one of my favorite books that is also really dramatic but so good. It is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This book is about our heroine. She is moving into a flat next to her brother's best friend, and they kind of start this fling, and he has gone through some really traumatic events in his life, and he kind of has to let himself feel his feelings again, so she kind of can bring his ghost town back to life. And I really felt like this matched the vibe very well, because it's just also very dramatic events that are happening inside this book, and it's full of emotions. And I actually think this might be the best match out of all of the recs that I'm going to give you, so maybe try this one. It's, if you like Colleen Hoover, or if you haven't read anything by her yet, I would really recommend this. It's probably my favorite romance novel of all time. Now I'm being dramatic, but I really enjoyed reading it, and I want to reread it soon. The next book we have is also for Electric Love, The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This is a really good book. It's about two people sharing a flat, but they're not really living together. So one of them is in this flat the whole day and the other person the whole night, because they're working different shifts. So they're kind of sharing this flat and never see each other. And then they start leaving each other notes in the flat and kind of getting to know each other through these notes. It's just, oh, it's so cute. And the main character in this book, the heroine, she also has a really traumatic past with her ex, and in the beginning she's still in the process of realizing everything that went wrong and how he treated her and that it wasn't correct. And then she gets to a place where she can actually work on it and overcome it. So also really full of emotions, very cute love story. Please, if you enjoy Electric Touch, go read this book. And then last but not least, for Electric Touch, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And this book fits this song just so well. It's just really remarkable. Because this book is about two young magicians who kind of have to fight each other in this circus, which is somehow, in my brain, makes a lot of sense with the Speak Now album in general. I don't know why, but the circus just fits. And they kind of have to fight each other, and only one of them will be left standing in the end. But, of course, they start to fall in love, a very deep and magical love, and every time that they touch, there's kind of magic in the air, and the light starts to flicker and the room grows warm suddenly. And if that doesn't fit Electric Touch, then what does? The next song we have on this list is When Emma Falls in Love, and we don't know which Emma this song is about. There's a lot of speculations about who this could be, but what we do know is that Taylor really seems to adore this person. It seems to be a really close friend, and she sings about how when Emma falls in love, she really changes the life of the man that she's in a relationship with, and he will never be the same as he was before. And she's this really intriguing, interesting person who just captivates you. And there are a couple of books that instantly came to mind for me when I heard this song. The first one being Paper Towns by John Green. Paper Towns is about Quentin and Margot. Quentin has been in love with Margot for his whole life, for forever. And he really admires her. And then she finally notices him and takes him with her on one of her adventures, because Margot is really adventurous and a really unpredictable person. So he follows her and they go on an adventure together, but then she suddenly vanishes and he has to find her. So this book definitely fits the vibe of When Emma Falls in Love. The second book that I was thinking of while I was listening to When Emma Falls in Love is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This book used to be my favorite book for such a long time. It's really good. It is a coming of age book. It tells the story of Charlie, who is kind of writing these letters to an unknown friend, and tells about his life experiences in these letters, and we get to experience his life through these as well. And there's so many interesting themes about growing up and also about dealing with past trauma and life in high school, being a wallflower in high school, and then also making friends, finding friendships, and also about love. Because Charlie does fall in love in this story, and he is also really into this girl. But the reason why I got this vibe from this book is not also because of the girl who he falls in love with, but because of his whole friend group, because they are all people that he really looks up to. And to me, it's just this feeling of seeing people and thinking, oh my god, they are so cool. I would love to be their friend, or I would love to be like them. And that's kind of more the perspective that Taylor has in this song, being like, I wish I could be like Emma. And that's why this song reminded me of the book. Also, the girl in question is played by Emma Watson in the film, so there we have an Emma, it's kind of full circle. So these were my 2 recs for When Emma Falls in Love. The next song, iconic, I Can See You. This is the song that we also got a music video for, and it did feature Taylor Lautner. That was mind-blowing. Oh my god, I still can't believe that happened. Anyway, the music video and the storyline of the song don't really have that much in common, but the song is really... The song tells the story of this very forbidden love and about having this tension with somebody, and most likely I interpret it as a kind of workplace romance, because one of the lyrics is, we kept everything professional. So in my mind I went like professional at work. Could mean anything else, but that's what I was thinking when I listened to the song and how I interpret it. Also, there are some really cool details about passing someone notes and secret meetings and not being allowed to do that, people finding out. So obviously there are some books that kind of tell this story, or a story that is similar to this one. One of them, for example, is Good Girl by Piper Lawson. That is a rockstar romance, which really kind of fits with Taylor. And I could imagine that it is maybe also about a musician if it's We Kept Everything Professional and it's a workplace romance, so that kind of fits the music theme as well. And it's about this girl falling in love with a rock star while she is on tour with him as a sound technician, and in the beginning they don't really like each other, but then they finally grow on each other, and there's definitely a lot of tension in this book, so I felt like this would be a really good fit for this song. The next book rec is also something that has to do with music. It's XOXO by XEO, and it is a K-pop romance, so it is very much a teenage romance and also about this kind of forbidden school romance, so people can't find out that they are dating because he is a pop star. And K-pop idols are not supposed to date anyone, really. So that's what that is about. Also, really sweet, a little bit less tension because of course it's YA, so it's clear that there won't be that much tension. If you want more tension, the next rec is definitely for you. There's a lot of that in this book. It's a little more explicit. It's called Twisted Games by Anna Huang. It's the second part of a series, but you definitely don't need to read the first part. I did for the sake of reading the series in the right order, and I don't know. You could read the first part, but it's definitely not necessary. It won't really spoil that much. So this book is a bodyguard romance, and it's just perfect for this album because the main character, the heroine, is a princess, and that fits the Speak Now vibe so much because we have this theme of castles and princesses and dragons and swords and whatever. But this book is about a princess of a European country, actually, that does not exist in real life, and her bodyguard. And She is a princess, but she's not supposed to become a queen because her brother is supposed to be the king. But then he falls in love with a girl, and because that girl is not a royal of any sort, he then can't become a king when he decides to marry her. And now we have our main character, Bridget, and she then has to step in and go back to her country and has to kind of start this training and start to lead her country. But she just fell in love with her bodyguard, and she obviously can't be with him. It has to be this hidden relationship. It has to be really secret, and they have to pass each other notes and meet up in secret. So yeah, I found that this book also really fit the vibe of I Can See You. Staying on theme with princesses and castles, the next song is called Castles Crumbling. And this was the song that I had the hardest time finding good book matches for, so if you have any recommendations for that one, please let me know below in the comments. The song Castles Crumbling is about seeing everything that you have worked very hard for and really put a lot of effort in crumbling, and you can't really do anything to keep it. So it's actually a little bit depressing, but it has a lot of metaphors in it, how Taylor's castle was crumbling. It's obviously a reference to her being booed at the VMAs, or at least her thinking that that happened, her being under a lot of scrutiny from the media in general, and her feeling like the public turning against her at one point. And that is pretty sad. And the way that this song is phrased, it really reminded me of someone in a fantasy book losing their powers. So I had this very specific idea in my head, but I don't know a lot of books, or I haven't read a lot of books that feature this theme really. So I have 2 recommendations, and then there's one that I haven't read that I'm going to tell you about. The first recommendation is Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I think if you spend some time on booktube or booktalk, you have probably heard about this book. I don't know if I really need to explain it. It is about Poppy, and she lives in this city, and she has been the chosen one. She is a maiden, and that means that she cannot be touched by anyone or even really talk to a lot of people outside of the people in this kind of castle that she lives at, and she is really lonely, but she sneaks out sometimes. But then this guy comes into her life. He's called Hawk, and they have this kind of tension going on, and then her life slowly starts to fall apart, or rather quickly in the end, because the castle where she's staying gets attacked, and she has to go on this trip to go to a safe place. And a kind of end goal is for her to have this ascension. I just realized I'm really bad at explaining this plot, but anyways, what really happens is that her whole world gets turned upside down, and nothing is the way that she thought it was. So it kind of fits in a sense, not in a sense that she was really powerful before and then lost that power, but more like her castle is crumbling in the sense that her whole world is falling apart. So yeah, that, I don't know, it kind of fits, but it's definitely less about facing scrutiny. My second recommendation for Castles Crumbling is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Also, very popular book, probably have heard of it. It is a YA fantasy, and Red Queen tells the story about a society where people are divided into reds and silvers, and reds are more like the normal people, and then the silvers are the elite people who have silver blood, so that's why they're called that. And then our main protagonist, Mare, is a rat, and she starts working at the Silver Palace. And at the Silver Palace there are these kind of games, you could call them, because people who are silvers have these special powers. They're all a little bit different, but they all have different kind of magical powers. And then when she's at this palace, Mare realizes that she also has some powers, and that should not be possible because she is a rat. And when she realizes that, that brings a lot of trouble in her life, but she also decides that she wants to overthrow this silver regime. And that's what the whole series is about, and it's really interesting. And in this case, kind of the castle is crumbling for her because she realizes she has this power, and that is very dangerous for her. But it fits the theme more because she is actually making their castle crumble, because she is overthrowing this very powerful regime. And finally, the book that I haven't read yet, but I think it really could fit the vibe very well, is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It is a fantasy book as well, and it tells the story of this boy with magical powers who grows to become a wizard, and apparently he kind of loses his powers on the way. At least that's what I've heard. So I think it could fit the vibe. I don't know. I haven't read it. If you have, maybe let me know in the comments if it sounds like it could fit the vibe, and also if I should read it. I've heard so many good things about this book. I think it could really be worth it, but I never came around to it. It's been on my list. So if you've read it, please let me know. Hi, Editing Julie here. I totally forgot to talk about one of the songs. I don't know why, but obviously I do have recommendations for this one as well. It is Foolish One. It's actually one of my favorite war tracks, because I can actually really relate to this one for some reason. It's a shame that I just forgot to record this part. So I thought I'd just add it in right now. The books that I would recommend if you like the song Foolish One. By the way, very good taste in music if you like that one. The first book that I would recommend based on Foolish One is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which is a classic. It is a book about the millionaire Jay Gatsby, who is deeply, deeply in love with a woman named Daisy Buchanan, but she is married to another man. So this book is really about unrequited love, and that's also what the song is about. And this book is one that really just fits the vibe of someone being deeply in love with a different person and then always waiting for them to finally do something about it. And that's also what the song is about. Another fun fact, Taylor actually has a lot of references to this book all throughout her discography. She mentions lines like roaring 20s tossing pennies in the pool. So that's definitely about the time that this novel is set in. And yeah, just all in all, great book, great song, perfect match. A different one, if you want another recommendation for that song, is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. Also one about unrequited love. This book is about two people being in love and both of them not really talking about it. So yeah, this book is about Elio. He's spending the summer at his parents' house in Italy, and this guy comes visiting them to work for his father, I believe, and they just fall in love, but they can't really talk about it because it's obviously this kind of forbidden love because it takes place in the 70s, I believe, and they both just don't talk about their feelings, and there's a lot of pining involved, which is just perfect for the song. Also, I can't really count because I also said 5 wall tracks. I think I'm just bad at counting, and that's why I forgot to include this song for some reason. Anyways, back to the normal video. And the last song of the wall tracks is called Timeless. This is such a beautiful song. It's about finding love and that love being really timeless. You could have found this love in every age of time. It's really about being soulmates. So the story kind of goes, she goes into this little shop and she finds this old photos and then sees herself and her man in these photos, in the couples that are on these photos. So that's really cute, and it's a really great way of storytelling, in my opinion, to say like, if we were in the 40s, if you had gone off to fight in a war, I would have still written your letters. If I had been forced to marry another man in another time, I would still have been in love with you. And in the future, when we are going to look back at these photos, we're going to say we have been timeless. Just so wholesome. And obviously, this song really screams time traveling. It really does. I think the first book is a really obvious one. It's The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. This is not a time traveling romance, but it definitely fits this song. I think this fits it so well because it's about this couple meeting in the 1940s and then kind of losing their connection. Also because of the war, and the main protagonist, Noah, he still keeps this girl's photo, and then they meet 14 years later and they still have their memories, and after a really long time they end up seeing each other again and kind of have to overcome the time that they were apart, and it's really emotional, and of course it's Nicholas Sparks, it's really sappy. But the song also kind of is, so I feel like this is a perfect fit. Another book that I think really fits the vibe is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. I can't really explain what this is about. It's definitely about several people who are connected throughout different time periods, and they all have different reincarnations that kind of meet in different time periods again, and that's it. That's the plot. There's obviously more to the plot, but I don't remember any of it, and it's beautiful, and there's also a movie that is really good. And the reason why I like this book and why I think it fits is the connection between these people over the different time periods and how it's kind of fate what happens. The last book that I want to recommend today is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. That is a book about a person who meets this girl on the train. That's why it's called One Last Stop, because this girl is actually trapped in time. She is trapped inside this New York Underground train, and she can only be inside there, and these two fall in love, and then they realize that they kind of can't be together because she's trapped in time and she wants to get out of there. And yeah, it's really cute, and just Casey McQuiston is such a great writer. So I would definitely recommend this book as well, because it connects different time periods with each other and kind of has this time traveling element, and lots of love. So these were my recommendations for the Speak Now wall tracks. I hope you found some recommendations, and please let me know if you like this and if you maybe want some more music-based recommendations. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!